In the 1800s, a man in Northern California claimed to find a fortune in gold. Could this be the remnants of the lost city of Atlantis?
There is no physical cave.
Or is there?
He showed me approximately where it was.
Join me, Joanna Skye, next time on Lost Legends of the West. The year was 1904, and a mining company out of London hired one man to prospect for gold in California. That man's name was J.C. Brown. Brown's expedition started in the Cascade Mountains near Stockton, California. While examining the mountain area, he discovered signs of a landslide. Brown spent much time and attention on this geological formation and discovered slight indications of what may have been the mouth of a cave covered by all the debris. So on a hunch, he started digging, only to reveal that he was right. Past the mouth, the cave was wide open and didn't look natural at all. Although, as J.C. Brown continued to explore it at great length, the tunnels began to open into long halls and grand rooms. The walls were lined with ancient writings and hieroglyphics. Many shields and metal plates hung high above Brown's head. To his astonishment, Brown had stumbled into a fantastic treasure room. J.C. Brown would take no chances, and without taking one piece of gold, he camouflaged his discovery and erased any sign of his camp, all in order to keep this location his secret. For the next 3 decades, Brown researched the many possibilities of who this treasure belonged to, including prehistoric races. Many years of study and comparison of hieroglyphics and pictographs convinced J.C. Brown that he had discovered the lost civilization of the Lemurians. This was the legendary city of giants. By 1934, Brown returned to Stockton, California, where he gathered a group of eager treasure seekers and believers. He trained and educated them for the archaeological event of their life. On the morning of what was to be the first day of this great expedition, J.C. Brown disappeared without a trace. He was never seen or heard from again, and the location of this mystical treasure, to this day, a mystery. For the next half hour, join me, Joanna Skye, as I travel to Mount Shasta, California in the Cascade Mountains and discover this ancient cave of gold. Welcome to Lost Legends of the West.
Every legend has some truth. Every truth has some legend. We find the truth in the legend.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm standing on the steps of the Historical Museum in Stockton, California. This is where Brown met with curators and professors who verified his story that what he found in the tunnels were in fact the remains of the ancient race of the Lemurians. Stockton, California is just what it claims to be, the all-American city. Stockton was built on the San Joaquin River, and most of the local residents work at the harbors and factories that line the river. Someone once told me that there are two types of people, those who live to work and those who work to live. Stockton is definitely a work-to-live town. With clear fishing water and beautiful agriculture, it is no mystery why people love it here. After driving around Stockton for a couple of hours, I came to the marina near the center of town. This could be the same dock that J.C. Brown left the searchers standing on. I'm standing here on the docks in the harbor in Stockton, California. This is where Brown was last seen back in 1934. Beautiful town, but I think it's time to leave here and follow the river up north and see what we can find. Because of the flat, barren land, the beginning of the drive reminded me more of Oklahoma than California. Before long, I could see the Cascade Mountains in the distance. As I neared the California-Oregon border, I could see the town of Mount Shasta. This is a quiet community, and its one and only industry is tourism. That night, I luckily checked in a local bed and breakfast where the innkeeper had his own experience with the Lemurian treasure.
We had one guy that worked for us that said he found an entrance into a cave that was all gold and gold doors leading into it. And so he took us up there, and you always hear these things, you can't find them again.
Bed and breakfast owners Bill and Mary hand cook every meal from scratch.
Here sometimes we have people stay for 5 or 6 days. We don't like to repeat dishes, so sometimes that makes it a little hard because you want to really rotate some nice stuff. And just whatever we do is very special, and we just do it all ourselves. This isn't processed food.
The original owner, Harry D. Brown, built this historic bed and breakfast as a family retreat in the late 1800s. Little did he know it would become a retreat for celebrities.
We had heard that Elizabeth Taylor would spend time here, and they'd be doing some movie sets, and we can't really pin it down exactly which movie. Somebody thought that National Velvet was filmed here, and I don't think that it was the buildings that were, but people like to say it was. And I know that Bing Crosby used to come here for the horses. I believe I've heard that Loretta Young come here because he had very famous horses, and it really entertained people. So over the years, there's been just a lot of celebrities here. But when we bought this, it had been a trip. There were no furnishings. The kitchen didn't even have a sink in it. I mean, it was like total vision, and so here we are all these years later. I kind of feel like I saved the old place.
I was on my way to a location where I knew some caves were located. Then I saw many clouds that had snowstorm written all over them. I didn't want my situation to get any worse. I decided to turn back, and this task was much easier said than done. A sure way to get out of snow is by rocking your car back and forth until you are free. Here I go. After a while, it became a bit frustrating, but with a little patience and a little more patience and just a tad bit more patience, I became free. On my way back down the mountain, curiosity got the best of me, and I stopped at the small town of Weed, which is only 5 miles away from Mount Shasta. At the turn of the century, Weed was established by a gentleman named Abner Weed, who constructed the town's first lumber mill. Weed is a lumber town and will always be a lumber town, remarked one local resident. From the highway, most people only see a string of gas stations selling cheesy t-shirts that read, "I love weed." I went back to Mount Shasta and talked with a local who believed he knew where the treasure was.
My dad, they knew about it, and this little lady in Ashland, Oregon was a tremendous little lady. And he went up there and he just sitting talking and says, well, one of these days, he says, you're going to run onto it. You're not going to know it, but you're going to be deer hunting, and you're going to see some deer, and you're going to go up to the mountain and things will happen. She told him that you're going to know because you're going to feel a tremendous vibration. And he did, and he wasn't even thinking of it. Right. And when he got over there, that's where it was. He showed me approximately where it was, and I'm the same way. I have no desire to go there and look for it. Like I say, there's been lots of people looking for it, and nobody's going to find it. Right. And because it's going to be for somebody that isn't selfish and doesn't look at it as a gold perception of it. If I had a piece of gold, I'd keep it, but it'd be just strictly for the beauty of life, nothing more.
I then talked to the owner of Crystal Wings Bookstore in downtown Mount Shasta.
From what I know of the mountain and what I've learned in my time here, there is no physical cave that you're going to stumble through the woods and stumble onto to the entrance. I know all the legends show the caves, talk about the caves, but now over on the other side of the mountain, out on the northeast side, you have what's called the Pluto Caves or the Pluto Caverns, but all these are just collapsed lava tubes. Right. For some reason, they run miles and miles and miles.
Lava tubes, huh?
See over there? That looks like a depression. Maybe that's where the cave is. This looks like something up here. Oh yeah. There's a huge hole.
I had to be really careful climbing down these boulders, and it was getting a little chilly.
definitely not the only ones to come in here. Let the good times roll, and they will. Wow, this obviously isn't it, but let's go see what's on this side.
Unfortunately, this wasn't our legendary cave, but rather a very large tunnel.
Now, I wonder if this one is actually a cave or if it comes through on the other end like the other ones. Let's go look. This opening is so big. Now, if I was in Lemurian, I definitely would put all my gold in here.
I couldn't believe how huge this cave was. I had just hoped that I'd find something, and that it wasn't just another tunnel.
Oh, bummer. Yep, there's the other opening. But it looks like the cave keeps going, so let's keep going. Well, it looks like we found some graffiti from 1917. Wow, this is a gigantic hole. Surprise, surprise. Looks like we ran into another tunnel. Maybe this one is actually a cave. And if you do plan on coming into these caves, make sure you bring a jacket or a sweatshirt because it's very, very cold. I wish I had one right now. Don't worry, that noise you hear is just my lantern. It's not bears snoring.
This cave just kept getting bigger and wider the further I went. As I continued on, it became more and more difficult to see even a foot directly in front of me.
Getting pretty deep into the cave now. But I don't see any of the historical writings on the wall that were mentioned in the book. So I'm beginning to wonder if this really is it, or if it's not it. Let's just go a little bit further.
This was getting a little scary. I've been in here for over an hour, and I'm getting scared. I'm not sure the treasure's worth staying in here for.
I went pretty deep into this mountain, but unfortunately, this cave doesn't have any gold and no hidden treasures. But that doesn't mean that there's not one up here that does. Or does it? According to the people that I've talked to, it seems that the cave is only seen by certain people. But then again, others say that there's still Lemurians running around and that live in the cave. So I guess it's up to you to come investigate. And if you do, Mount Shasta is truly awe-inspiring and radiant. But if it's gold that you're looking for, remember, many men have spent lifetimes just seconds away from being rich. So in the words of Henry Van Dyke, the goal of his journey may be won. He may rest, but he is never idle. 1,000 years may pass like a day in glad surprise of paradise where work may be sweeter than play. Until next time, I'm Joanna Skye, and this has been Lost Legends of the West.